welcome to Inside the Banjoverse. I am your host, Enda Scahill, coming to you from a very warm Galway city. I've got the window open here, there's a lovely breeze blowing in. I've just finished this interview with Máirín Fahy. She's just an incredible person, a brilliant fiddle player with an extraordinary career, and I know that you're going to enjoy this interview. Before I get started, a big shout out to all the patrons of the podcast, and if you would like to be a supporter, you can head on over to patreon.com/Enda Scahill Banjo, and you never know, you might be inspired to pick up the banjo and the mandolin. Let's jump straight into a wonderful conversation with the brilliant Máirín Fahy. Máirín.
Yes, and
very famous fiddle player. Riverdance, Reeltime, which I know was a very successful band. Furry Village.
That's right.
Am I missing anything?
I have them all. At Temple House Ceilidh Band.
I didn't know that one.
Yeah, I was at Temple House Ceilidh Band for, I don't know, about maybe 5 years or whatever, yeah. That was a brilliant Ceilidh Band, I have to say, yeah. That was back in the, if I start talking about dates, 80s, 90s, whatever, yeah. So we did all the Ceilidhs and stuff, yeah. Kieran and Paul and Mick Gaynor, Seamus Meehan, Paul Roach, Kieran Hanran, and Mary Corkin on the piano, and myself.
Also a little bit of Stockton's Wing. Like.
Oh, Paul and Kieran were in that, they were,
I didn't realise that.
Yeah, we did that for maybe. I was there for about maybe 4 or 5 years, and then I joined Riverdance, so I had to. I went off with Riverdance then. But we used to have great Ceilidhs, especially during the Willie Clancy Festival down in the Armada. And I tell you have to be fit for playing for dancers. Unbelievable. I mean,
it's completely different, isn't it?
It's very enjoyable with the speed. And as soon as you're finished a full set, you're thinking, geez, I made a great job of that. And it's like, what's next? And you're kind of going, hold it a second, take your time. But it was just, it's a great time, yeah. And the band was it was great fun, great music.
A full set is a good length of time playing, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it could be like 20 minutes. It depends on the set. Do you know what I mean? And I tell you, you have to know your P's and Q's.
They don't want breaks.
No, they don't. Yeah. It's an amazing workout, both for the musician and for the dancer, to be honest with you. And was it Tom Cusson was actually telling me, that how they measured how good a Ceilidh band was how many times you had to change your T-shirt because you sweated so much when you were dancing.
The dancers would.
Yes.
You know what a set dancer's cocktail is?
What?
It's a pint of water with ice and lemon.
Oh, right.
That's what the pubs would kind of,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the Temple House, yeah.
So where are you from originally?
I'm from Ballinakil, which is southeast Galway, 10 miles from Loughrea, going towards Clare. And there were 4 in the family, Ger, Ter, Yvonne and myself. And of course we all played music. My mum was Bridie White and my aunt was Eggy. So there was always music with us in the house. And my other aunt, Eva, then was the singer and the storyteller as well, yeah.
So huge musical heritage.
There was a lot of music, I have to say, when we were growing up. And my dad, then you see, no more than your dad, he was the master, he was the teacher, do you know what I mean, in Ballinakil. And he was great for producing shows, even if it was the Christmas concert at the primary school. But then when we moved into secondary school, he actually organised Scurriocks and, Mummers Failures in Woodford and all of that. And we actually did a tour of England when we were about 14 years of age. And we went around to all the Irish centres. So we had music, song and dance. So that was our first taste of touring.
Wow.
And it was great.
So who taught you the fiddle?
Mary Donoghue, the Donoghue Ceilidh Band of many, many years ago. She was one of my teachers. And also my Aunt Aggie. So I went to Mary, Mrs. Lyons. She was an amazing lady. I mean, at the time, she was able to teach me, say, the fiddle. She was able to teach somebody else the accordion beside me. And while she'd be listening to me, she was able to handwrite all the music of the next person. And it was so neat, all the manuscript. It was amazing what she was able to do. So she taught me, and so did Aggie, and of course, Mam as well, Bridie. Yeah. So
I don't know Bridie White as a name, but I obviously, Aggie White is very, very well known. Just talk a little bit about Aggie and Bridie.
Yeah, so basically, my grandfather was Tommy White, and he was one of the original founders of the Ballinakil Ceilidh Band. And then he had 4 daughters, and one unfortunately died when she was 12 and a half. Máirín was her name. And then he had 3 other daughters, Aggie, Bridie Aggie, Eva and Bridie. So Aggie started, a priest came to Ballynakill, his name was Father Larkin, and he was mad into music. And he encouraged Tommy, my grandfather, to maybe get Aggie to play the fiddle, that she might be okay. So anyway, at 12, she was 12 when she started learning, which was pretty old really for somebody to start learning a new instrument. So she started learning when she was 12 years of age. So then of course Mam did, and you know, that's where it all started, yeah. So we had a pub at home. It was, well, we have Fahy's pub. It was White's pub at the time, my grandfather's pub. And all the musicians used to cycle, Heather O'Loughlin, the whole lot, used to come from Clare over to White's pub, and there used to be an awful lot of music sessions there. So that's probably where all the music started. Yeah.
Wow. And so do you remember lots as a small kid? Like?
Absolutely, I do indeed. I remember a lot of the sessions I remembered now in our pub were when I was in my teens especially, and Dad was a part-time farmer, and he would be baling the hay, and the next thing is somebody blow the horn, the car horn, going along the road, and it might be Michael Rafferty. Mike Rafferty who lives in New York, and he's from Ballynakill, and his daughter is Mary, and we'd have Joni Madden, and the dad is Joe, and he's from Portumna, which is only 9 miles from us in Ballynakill. So it would always be around the early August, and they'd be over for the flagholes in wherever they were going to be, the All-Ireland flagholes. So they'd end up coming to Ballynakill, coming to Portumna, and the sessions we used to have in our pub for about 2 weeks before the flag was... They were mighty altogether. They were great. Oh, yeah. So there was good fun.
Sounds like a happy childhood.
It was a great childhood. It really was, yeah. Lots of music and, great.
Sun always shining.
Well, I won't say that. Not unless you had to practice. Just like, you'd be playing the tunes, and then Aggie would come in to listen to the tunes before I played them in a flat. And, it would put a bit of pressure on you now, to be quite honest with you, yeah. Okay.
Well, did you know as a kid the regard that she was held in then?
I kind of did, to be honest with you, yeah, because we used to play in a session when I was younger or whatever in Chocknafela, in Whitegate, and in Gort, and in the West Park Hotel. And she used to play, and herself and my mum used to play together. And they were so in unison, actually. There was a CD brought out recently of Aggie's music, and by her grandson, Michael Harrison, and all the music was collected on that, and there's 1 or 2 tunes where Mam and herself play together, and it's so close. It's gorgeous, actually. It's really, really nice. Yeah.
Fiddle as well?
2 fiddles, yeah. 2 fiddles, very closely played together, yeah.
Like
they're a very similar style. Yeah. And they played a bit with the Tulla Band as well. They used to, Aggie was in the Tulla Band, and Mam used to go up as well and play, yeah. So there's a lot of music going on.
So an awful lot of Cayley bands. Now,
yes.
I'm famously completely averse to Cayley bands, but I just... Only because I'm that kind of daft, rebellious banjo player that, just refuse.
You don't want to conform.
No. And I can almost hear Gillian, my wife, she's not even in the house, but she just raised her eyes. Somewhere to go, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I couldn't cope with playing the tune the same as everybody else.
Yes, I know what you're saying. Yeah,
but talk to me a little bit, convince me.
Oh, I tell you, well, I suppose about me playing the Cayley band, is it?
Just Cayley bands in general.
Cayley bands, well, honest to God, I have to say the lift that they give to the music, you have to say, if that doesn't get to you, of course it does. It has to. If there's a lift and if it's so well played. And I think if the key changes and the tempo that you play and the mix of instruments, I don't know, it's a great buzz. We had a great time with the Temple House Cayley Band, I have to say. It was fantastic. Actually, it was very funny in ways. We had a great drummer called Mick the Drummer Gaynor, and he used to bring his, it's only a little bit of a funny story now, he used to bring his camper van with them down to the Armada. And while we'd be maybe doing the first set or while we were tuning up, he'd go out and maybe he'd put down the kettle for the tea, and then maybe if it was a winter's night he'd say, right, I better go out now and I'm going to boil the kettle for the hot water bottle when I'm going to bed when the gig is over. But he was the drummer in the band, and he was just a great character. But I know, I just love playing the bands, I have to say.
And at what age were you when you started kind of touring with the Cayley bands? Because there's a whole lifestyle associated with touring and crack and late nights and pubs and all of it.
Well, I suppose when we were very young, Mrs. Lyons put a band together, like the Ballynakill Junior Cayley Band under 11, and we won the All-Ireland at the time, which was a big deal for us, I suppose. And so I was playing in Cayley bands because of competition, really, I suppose, in the beginning. And then in the late 80s, Kieran Hanrahan and Ted decided, you know what, let's give this a go. So then we decided, let's get this Temple House band together, and we had the boards and the whole lot. It looked like kind of the old-timey kind of setup, and it was great. Yeah, and we toured We toured England. We toured. I think we went to Russia at one stage as well. We did a few different places like that. Yeah, Moscow. I think. Yeah.
That must have been mind blowing.
Yeah.
Like as a teenager, right?
Yeah. Oh no. This is when I was a bit older. Yeah, in my 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
it was good though. Yeah.
But like Moscow in the 80s and the 90s, like that was a huge.
Yeah,
it was a huge affair to cover, right?
It was great to head off. Yeah, and travel. And I suppose from playing with music at home in my teens, and our dad bringing us off to England on that tour. That started it. But then we joined a group called Kyoto in Mailaka, and it was run by Tomás Mannion in Mailaka. He's a great footballer, actually. He was a great Galway footballer and a great musician. And he put music, song and dance together. And like he organised a worldwide tour with a fax machine. When you think about it, we did Singapore, Australia, Hawaii, and the States, like over a 4-week period in the month of, I think it was March, on 3 different occasions. And it was absolutely brilliant. This was when I was in college, and it was brilliant. It was great.
And so many musicians play, right? And they love it, and they play sessions, and they play in céilí bands, and they go to flas, but they don't try to make a living from it, or try to even, the idea of touring something to most musicians, I think, is a very alien concept.
Yeah.
So like who or what was the driver behind this kind of, push to bring it to an audience?
Well, this was probably, I mean, to be honest with you, it wasn't a professional outfit, really. Do you know what I mean? We went and we enjoyed ourselves. We got to see a lot of the world at the time, and it was, I suppose, it was a great taster for us. And I was teaching, and then I decided, I want to take a break, so took a career break, and we formed Reeltime, and then we decided to go professional with the music and toured a lot in the States then, and all of that.
That was after Riverdance, though?
No, that was before
Riverdance.
Before Riverdance, yeah.
So Reeltime, when about that?
Okay, Reeltime was the early 90s.
And who was in Reeltime?
I'm 190. I'm only joking.
Here we go. Sometimes. So who was in Reeltime?
Okay, so Ailish Egan, box player from Clohan, County Offaly. Benny Hayes, who's from Portumna. And Chris, my husband, on the guitar, And Jimmy Higgins actually used to tour with us quite a bit as well. Right, and Yvonne, my sister, used to come in every so often as well. She plays percussion as well. So it was great.
Yeah. How many albums did you do?
We did 2 albums, So we had Ailish actually on the first album, and then it just happened that Riverdance actually happened. So then we had Luke Daniels on the accordion for one of the albums, and we also had Alan Kelly who toured with us. So it was great. We had a great time. I suppose what happened was we had our first album recorded, we had it toured, then Riverdance happened, and I ended up playing in the European Riverdance gig, and Ailish actually was in the American Riverdance gig. So then Reeltime was kind of split, I suppose. Naturally, it happened. There was a natural split. But in fairness to the Riverdance company, they actually, anytime we wanted to tour, I was allowed to go, and there was no problem like that. So Luke Daniels joined, and Alan Kelly joined on tours as well. So it worked out fine. It was great.
So all fabulous musicians.
Yeah, brilliant. We were lucky to have all of those musicians playing with us, yeah.
So what was Riverdance like?
Riverdance was absolutely amazing. I remember walking in the woods in Montpellier when I got the call. I just remember it was, are you interested in joining Riverdance? Because I remember we all remember certain times in your life. So we all know where we were, I think, when the Interval Act happened in Riverdance. You know what I mean? It was so amazing. And I remember I was in Salt Hill at the same time. The hair was just standing in your head, and you're kind of going, this is unbelievable. And I was walking the wood in Montpellier, and I just got a phone call and said, because we were living there at the time, and just say, would I be interested in joining Riverdance? So I was over the moon, and I had a few days to learn the music, and I'm not a very quick sight reader now, to be quite honest with you, but there was a fantastic lady that plays the fiddle. Her name was Patricia Gleeson. Her marriage name was Patricia Kelly, and she's a beautiful fiddle player, classical and trad, and she helped me actually read through the music as fast as I could. So I learned it in about 4 days because I was so determined. I really enjoyed, the music. So I went over to Hammersmith, and I was there for 9 months. Because the great thing was, at the time of Riverdance, you were in a place for a long stint. Do you know what I mean? So because basically the first company was called the Liffey Company. Okay, so the Liffey Company were in Hammersmith, and then Eileen Ivers was the lead fiddle player, and then they moved to America, to Broadway. They went to their Radio City or whatever. So then they decided to start up the second Riverdance group, and the second one were Europe, Asia, Australia, and that was our one. So we started in London, in Hammersmith, and we were there for 9 months, and then we toured Europe, then we went to Australia, New Zealand. It was amazing. It was a fantastic time.
Was it tough in any way?
I suppose the travelling can be tough, but I really, really enjoyed it because you were going to so many different cities. Oh, we got to Japan as well. Yeah, we went to so many different cities. I bought the Lonely Planet guide for probably the first year and a half, and I went to see every old town of every city I was in. But then after that, you kind of go, I can't be doing this all the time.
Enough sightseeing.
But it was great. But I mean, the advantage was we were so many weeks in each place. You know, we were at least 2 weeks in every city in Germany. We toured Germany for about a year. You know, now you did have your summers off a few weeks and you had your Christmas off. And like we went to Japan and we did 4 of the major cities and you were 2 weeks in every one of them. So you got to see each place really well. And when we were in New Zealand, we had apartments. So we were there for 3 months. So you were able to set up home, get rid of all the hotel paraphernalia, get out the candles and get out the nice bits and pieces and you know, make home of it. So it was great.
This is dream touring.
It was dream touring now, in fairness. It actually was, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it must have been amazing being that initial rush of Riverdance as well.
Yeah,
because it was so huge.
It was so huge, and it was we were the first, I suppose, the audiences saw Riverdance for the first time when we did go to Germany and Japan and Australia and New Zealand. You know, they did, yeah. So it was an amazing time.
Were you married at that time?
I was, yeah. I was married at that time.
Did Chris go with you?
He did, yeah. He was, he did. He came as well, yeah. And actually, Dara was born probably mid-Riverdance as well. So
that was when you got done with all the sightseeing.
No comment. But the great thing was the show actually, I took 6 months off and the show started back in Belfast, and then I was in England and Scotland for about 6 months. So we had the car and we had the whole thing. And in fairness, you know, we had everything, the whole setup. And in fairness, Riverdance were very fair to, you know, with accommodation and stuff. So then Dara was with us on the road for about another 2 years after that. So it was lovely, and you were never stuck for a babysitter. And Irish dancers make the best babysitters, without a doubt.
Wow.
So, you know, so it was a great time.
That was a wonderful experience because that's a lot of very close family time as well at his young age, because you're only working in the evening, right?
Only working in the evening time.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you're there absolutely all day, and you're only gone then from 6 or whatever for rehearsals.
You
and
wouldn't have got
whatever.
that teaching, or you know,
No.
in the regular
Absolutely
job.
No.
That sustained
Yeah,
at the time.
yeah. So it actually worked out really, really well. Yeah,
That's
it did.
amazing.
Yeah.
So when did that come to an end then? Was that your decision, or
yes? Yeah, 2003. 2003, because Dara was getting older, I suppose, and we had to, you know, we decided then to set up home. So it actually all worked out well. And of course we didn't stay quiet for too long, because we decided then to set up Treading the Prom in Galway, because we just like being at home. Well, no, I suppose, and during all that time I was working with the Chieftains as well. You know, yeah.
just toss that in there.
I know, no, yeah. And like, as I say, Riverdance were very fair, because you know, there were a few tours of Reeltime that we did for a while in the early Riverdance days. And then I was asked to do some tours with the Chieftains, and that was such a brilliant opportunity. And the great thing was then there were some amazing fiddle players that, you know, that played, you know, and I went off or whatever, do you know what I mean? So it was brilliant. Yeah. It was good, yeah.
Do you think Reeltime would have gone full-time, big time? It's a big if, but would you have liked that?
Oh, well, sure. I enjoyed touring, whatever way it went. Yeah, you know, we were doing really, really well in the States. Do you know what I mean? We actually were, and we were having a great time, and we were, I suppose, building up the fan base as well. And you know, it's got some great reviews from the albums that we recorded. Yeah, I suppose if, you know, who knows? What do you think?
Are you going to put the band back together?
What?
Did you ever think about putting it back together?
We did, you know, because we're probably celebrating some anniversaries now at this stage, in fairness. You know, yeah. But it was a good time, you know.
And the other project then was Furry Village, right?
That's right.
Which I thought was an amazing name.
Yeah, isn't it a mad name?
It's the greatest name.
Yeah, Ger and Terry put that together, and my two mad brothers, yeah. So Ger and Terry formed that in the late 90s, I think it was, yeah. And playing in the Keys. The Keys seemed to be the home of Furry Village, really, you know what I mean? So it was great, like rock trad or whatever you want to call it. And we had a song in the top 10, She Moves to the Fair, that went really well for us at the time. And then Ger was asked to join Lord of the Dance. So when I went to Riverdance, he went to Lord of the Dance. So Fahy Village then was kind of calmed for a little while. But we have actually resurrected it in the last 2 months. So we're back. We did a few gigs there lately in the Keys.
So with the depth of kind of musical tradition that you came from with Aggie White and your mum, was there any pushback in any fashion to... It's kind of commercialising the music with Reeltime, but then even the Fahy Village, which is like pretty far outside of strict tradition.
Yeah.
Was there any raised eyebrows anywhere? Or everywhere?
Well, I suppose it depends where you go, in fairness.
Only if you're looking for them, maybe.
Yeah, well, my mum and dad, actually, they always came to the gigs in the Keys and they loved them, even though like it was really noisy and the whole lot. But they actually really, really enjoyed it, do you know what I mean? Well, I suppose we had done the Flas and we had done all of that. And Ger was the composer really in the family, and Yvonne is composer now as well. But I suppose we were always experimenting with other types of music and stuff. I remember we won some competitions, some Spotlight magazine for composing some song, and I don't know, Terry was playing the drums, and we were always trying to do something a little bit different, I suppose. But Ger, he composed a musical Tara. So that was another thing that he did. So everyone was trying to experiment with different music other than just pure trad. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, yeah.
Very entrepreneurial family.
I suppose, maybe, yeah.
Not a maybe, like hugely.
Yeah. I suppose come back to Ger. He composed that in the 80s, the late 80s, and 8 we were in the Tyvark No More Than Yourself with the summer shows. We were there first with I suppose with Dickie Byrne had produced them, and Patricia Ford, and then Ger wrote his own musical Tara. So we had that in the Tyvark for a few weeks, and then we performed with the concert orchestra in Leisureland and in Dublin, and then we went over to the Luxor Theatre in Rotterdam. So it was a Celtic musical. It was just before Riverdance and Lord of the Dance. He did all of that, you know. So I suppose we always tried different things, you know.
Yeah. Riverdance, Lord of the Dance, Chieftains. It's huge. It's an incredible CV.
It was great about the Chieftains. Yeah, that was all a great time. Yeah.
Did Ger have a winch installed in the Keys so
Yes.
that he could go up and down playing the pipes?
He did.
He did.
Well, or else it was already there. I can't remember, because one of the tunes that I have on that CD that I recorded years ago, it's called The Flying Piper, because he literally would get the harness, and he had a winch and he would fly. Is it a winch or winch? Winch.
No, a wench is a different...
Now I know.
He may have had wenches, I don't know. But he had a winch.
And he used to fly over the audience or whatever and play over the audience all the time. It was so funny. It was great. Yeah.
But that's what I mean about like crazy entrepreneurial spirit, because who would think to do something like that?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
And not held back by...
No. I mean, he always loved trying out stuff like that. Definitely, yeah.
Was the whole dancing thing in Riverdance?
Yeah.
Was that alien to you? Was that something you had to learn how to do?
I danced from when I was 3. I used to come into Mairead Flaherty in Galway in the Claddagh, and I danced an awful lot when I was young. So I suppose I went to all the feshes. My mum used to bring me in from Ballinackill 3 times a week, you know, driving in to Galway, and I danced until I was about maybe 9 or 10. Well, I always danced, but I stopped feshes when I was about 9 or 10 years of age, because really you couldn't just do all the Flas and the feshes. It was just hard to do both together. Do you know what I mean? So, but I love dancing. Yeah.
So, and you a natural performer, so you had no problem skipping across the stage.
Across the stage,
yeah. The
exactly.
Did you have to learn all? I mean, not learn how to do it, but
no,
like,
it's okay. I didn't mind doing that.
You were shooing, no bother at all.
No, I enjoy that actually. Yeah, I enjoy that. Yeah, and like, you know, with Riverdance, like it is, it's challenging. I mean, it's live. All the music is live, and you're like we always had fantastic sound checks, and every time we moved from venue to venue, you'd rehearse all your music, and it was very well organised. Yeah.
So now you're doing Trad on the Prom in Galway.
Yeah, we're doing Trad on the Prom in Galway. This is I think it's our 19th year or something like that. Yeah. We started in Salt Hill Hotel, and then we moved to the Galway Bay Hotel, and now we're in Leisureland, so we're moving.
So for those that have absolutely no idea what that is, just fill me in on.
Well, I suppose it's a show of Irish music, song and dance. I suppose at one stage people thought it was just mainly for tourists, but it's just good old-fashioned trad music, and with singing and fabulous dancing, and the dancers are like world class. One of Claire Graney has won the world 6 times around. We have loads of different world champion dancers in it. We've our young fella Dara and his friend Ronan O'Connell from Corja. So they're dancing with us at the moment. So and Cathal Keeney. The great thing about it is the Hessian School of Dancing in Galway have produced amazing dancers, and they're not all free at certain times of the summer. So like at the moment, it's Dara and Ronan are there, and we have another amazing dancer from Headford, a world champion called Evan O'Brien. And then if one of them has to take off a night, we have Cathal Keeney, who is another world champion, and he's actually lead of Lord of the Dance at the moment. I don't mean to be confusing you now or anything. And he's in the next few weeks. So it's amazing that it just all evolves, and there's
it's an embarrassment of riches.
Oh, well, they're brilliant. I have
to
say they're amazing dancers. And then we have Pádraig Grinn on the concertina, and we've had Francis Cunningham up, and Emer Coughlin. We've loads of people, and Colm Henry on keyboard, who has worked with Westlife, and Tommy Fleming, he plays with him, and then Yvonne and Jaron. Yeah, it's good, Chris. Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, and Mark Roberts sings. We have different vocalists coming in different times. We have, Don Stiff's coming in, I think. So it varies. You might come in yourself some night and play.
For sure.
Brilliant.
And you love it.
Yeah, I do. Really, really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. It's great.
Did you ever burn out from the whole, from the business of it, from the go of it?
Well, I suppose there was a time in Riverdance that, when we were touring in Germany, and I had to take about 2 weeks off. I was just... Actually, what happened was I went teaching music, and it was very, very intense, I remember. And I went straight back into Riverdance again for about a week or two. And then I decided I needed to take a week or two off, just to take a bit of a break. And
a week or two? Take a year, a month. Let's take a week off. Imagine. Tell me holidays.
Yeah, that was it. I know, it's very... You see, in fairness, your days were free all the time at Riverdance. You could actually just take it easy. Yeah. Sometimes the main thing of your day was, did you find the laundrette? Honest to God. Do you know what I mean? What did you do today? Well, I did the washing, and went for a lovely coffee shop there. You know what I mean? That was it, really.
Yeah.
But that's good too, you know.
Yeah. Touring can be wonderful if you do it right, isn't that it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I suppose your fear, no more than my own, was just to get the precious instrument on the plane. And once you have that on the plane, you don't care.
Well, that's a different deal in Europe than it is in America, because in America, they're just bigger planes.
So there's no problem.
Yeah, Ryanair, of course, famously. You
yes.
have to find lots of different workarounds, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I've always decided anyway, if there's ever a problem, they can take the case, and I'll just put it into a brown paper bag or something, and that's it, the fiddle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on to the next generation. Your son Dara has a very famous dance group called Corja.
They have, yeah. I mean, and that all happened over COVID, I suppose, and lockdown. And they're a bunch of friends that would meet at world competitions or whatever. They used to meet at Feshes all of the time. So unfortunately, their Leaving Cert was cancelled. Well, maybe just fortunately, you know, I mean, they just didn't get to do it. So then they decided, one of Dara's friends, Francis, his dad had unfortunately passed away from cancer, and he decided to do a step a day. And this was in the month of May. So he was down in Furbo and Spiddle doing a step a day and putting it up on Facebook. So then he asked Dara and Ronan, the other two boys, would they just go and do it? And they said, sure, we're not studying, we might as well. So off they went. And then it just happened that a few of them got together, and they brought in 3 more lads. Oh yeah, sorry. They did that tune Banjo Beats. Mm-hmm. And they did it over in Barna Woods. And I remember Dara saying to me in the car, Ma'am, there's something really strange happening on the internet or whatever. This thing is going really viral. So I think since the last few weeks, they've got about 90 million views on that, on TikTok or whatever it is. Yeah, so that's how it all blew up, you know. And then, because everything was closed down, Brian, one of the dancers, Brian Culligan from Clare, his uncle had a beautiful house down on the cliffs of Moher in Clahan. So they went down there for 3 months, and if they had college in the morning, they'd do that in the morning, and then they danced all evening. And they had, there was a St. Patrick's Day celebration one of the years there, and they had the Cliffs of Moher to themselves. There were no buses, there were no bus tours, so they actually got to do Good Morning America and Good Morning Britain on St. Patrick's Day, and no buses. It was brilliant. Unbelievable. Like, where would you get that? Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Any notion of making a show out of it? Could they?
They could be tempted, I tell you. Yeah, they're thinking about that now, to be quite honest with you, yeah.
Because they would have a lot of experience within their immediate family to draw on, right?
Yeah. They have really. Yeah, they have.
Yeah.
And they have great ideas. You know, they're always coming up with ideas and dances and stuff. Yeah. So they've done a lot of traveling. Yeah.
Do you practice?
Do you practice?
I do now.
Do you? Yeah.
Because I'm at home.
Yeah, I do now and again now too, because
Yeah.
kind of have to. Do you know what I mean? And you know, sometimes if somebody said to me now, you have to play for set dancers. I mean, to get the speed back into your fingers again, you know, you have to practice and get up to speed. But the great thing is there are so many sessions now in Galway. I enjoy going and playing the few tunes, and it's a great warm up for if you're doing a performance or whatever somewhere. It's brilliant.
Yeah, there's nothing like playing live in a session.
Oh yeah. And also so that you can think of other tunes and what are we going to play next, and so that you know, because think of a set of tunes sometimes it can be, you know, you have to think twice sometimes. Yeah,
That's the hardest thing when you've been playing a set of music, like with a band or with Riverdance or with the show.
Yeah.
And then you go to a session and someone says, start up a set of tunes. And you're like, I know them all, but I
Yeah.
can't think of any of them.
yeah,
you know?
exactly. And you don't know what they've played already, so you just
Yeah. That's what I'm kind of working on at the moment,
Yeah.
is trying to access that library of tunes in my head and sort them all out, because I play the first part of one and the second part of another.
I know, yeah.
And then the first part of a different one.
Right, okay. Still sounds good though.
And get very confused. Do you struggle in any fashion you seem like an incredibly confident person. Do you struggle in any fashion with like, God, that was a terrible gig, or I played really badly tonight, or have I still got it, or any of those kind of things?
Well, I mean, it can happen, obviously. Do you know what I mean? Loads of Eskimo oil for the fingers, obviously, to try and keep them going. Yeah, I mean, I suppose it can happen that, as I say, one can get nervous every so often when you're doing, you know, but I mean, I suppose you surround yourself with wonderful musicians, and I suppose if you put the work in, it's all right. You just have to keep going. Head down.
And you're a radio personality now as well.
No.
Local radio.
Look at
Galway Bay FM. We'll give them a shout out.
Well, I'm so delighted that they have, you know, they've decided to put on Treading the Bay on Galway Bay FM, because really, to be honest with you, there's never enough trad music on any of the radio stations, especially, you know, and it's great now the Galway Bay FM have two trad programs. So, as I said, there's loads of room for more if anybody wants to do them. Oh yeah, I think it's great. Yeah. You know, and I'm enjoying it. Okay, my weakness is my technical side of things. I wouldn't be great. Absolutely not. But I'm enjoying finding music and chatting to people and getting the tunes together, and it's making me think more about music as well. So I'm really enjoying doing the show. Yeah.
Is it a lot of work? Preparing for it?
Yes. In the beginning, it took me about 6 hours to put a show together. Honest to God, because I'd be listening to the different CDs and I'd go, I have to do a jig now, and I have to do a reel there. Oh no, there's too many fiddle players. And that was me actually putting on too many fiddle players. I mean, no, I have to put in banjo box. You know, and you never think of things like that. But yeah, but now I'm getting better at that now.
Yeah, and do you write out a script, or do you wing it, as I'm winging it right now?
I wrote out a script, to be quite honest with you, in the beginning.
Yeah.
And now I'm kind of winging it, which is great. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I get a great kick out of it when it actually works.
Any regrets? Anything that you wish you did more of, or you did too much of, or was there any opportunities that you missed out on that you wish you had got to do?
I don't know. I don't know. I think I'm kind of happy enough with myself. I think. Well, I regret that I haven't got my blooming next album. I'm very slow at recording, to be quite honest with you. At the moment now, myself and Patsy Broderick are recording some music, and I'm looking forward to getting that finished. And I have started my own album, but I mean, I've started it like 2 years ago, so I'm not quick enough at getting it all down and just settling on one project and doing it. So I need to get that done this year.
So how many solo albums have you done?
I've only the one. I've one.
Well,
I kind of have two, but it's really one of them was brought out when we were in New Zealand. But this one here, yeah.
So when was that?
Oh, that was a good few years ago. Time for another one.
There's no judgment. I did one in the year 2000, which is
it was 2000, I think.
Frighteningly, that's 23 years ago.
Yeah, well, mine was around the same time. I think 2000 as well. Yeah. But it's.
But you have to have something
good
to say. That's what I feel about doing a solo album.
Yeah.
And you know. Yeah. With having done 10 years with the band and having a lot to say as part of a group, I don't have anything to say at the moment. And I'm waiting for that kind of rush to come in.
Yes, I know. Yeah.
I don't want to do it just for the sake of cranking something out.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. And I mean, the time has to be right, and, you know, you have to feel good about the way you're playing and all of that, yeah.
Yeah, and now as well, because, of course, you know, recorded music has there's a valueless aspect to
Yeah.
it, which is that if you go and spend 20 grand on an album,
Yeah.
you're not getting it back.
Definitely not.
You know.
And I mean, sometimes the live recording of a few people sitting together in the room is as good as spending 20 grand, as you say, on an album, or just doing a really good gig and just recording it and putting it out there for people just to have, you know. Yeah.
Any musical dreams, plans for the future? Or are you just very content to do another 19 years of...
I know, stop
That on the
that.
palm. The round's up to 20. Another 20 years.
Well, we might round it to 20, we'll see then. I know, I just want to continue playing music, because I just love it. I just keep going as long as we can. I think it's really good it's in the bones. So what can you do? You just have to keep going.
Do you ever think about like retirement in any fashion? Now, how would that look? I'm not trying to make it sound
As a
old
musician?
or anything, but just in generally, like in life.
Well, I'm still teaching.
Yeah.
I'm job sharing at the moment. But yeah, I would be thinking about just spending more time playing music. Really. Because, you see, Dara now has... he's finished... He's one more year to go in college. And I would think probably we might just head off again and just keep playing tunes, because that's when we really got off the road, really, was because Dara was going back to school, and I was with the Chieftains for I don't know how many years it was. I did the tours with them and really enjoyed it. But then when Dara was 7 or 8, I just decided I need to stay home. The tours, I remember we were doing a February tour, maybe 3 weeks long, and then there was a March tour, but there was a break in the middle. But then the tours were getting a little bit longer, and I just felt it probably wouldn't be fair, do you know what I mean, to be away and Dara going to school, whatever. Yeah. But I'd like to get back on, do that again, I think.
You'd like to go back travelling, yeah?
I don't know. We'll see. A little bit, maybe.
Yeah. You'd have the freedom to do it, of course.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Even just for the pleasure of it.
Yeah, just absolutely. That's what I mean. Just for the pleasure, just to head off and play tunes when you want to.
Have you been drawn to any other musical genres to play? Or to merge two together?
Merge. Well, I've liked the bluegrass music, because we even play some of that now in the show. And I suppose when we were over in the States, I used to love heading down to, was it North Carolina, meeting all the musicians there for all the sessions. And then Jeff White, who was with the Chieftains, he introduced me to a lot of musicians in Nashville. And I remember going to the Bluebird Cafe and playing with the Time Jumpers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great crack.
Oh.
Yeah.
Jeff that plays the piano accordion is a great friend of mine.
Yeah, that, and all that kind of stuff. And I just love all that music, yeah.
They're amazing.
Yeah, they're brilliant.
Oh my God. Yeah.
They're unbelievable. I thought I was in heaven when I was over there.
Yeah, so I sat in the Station Inn.
That's the one, the Station Inn. Did I say Bluebird? I mean,
Bluebird. Well, that's the famous. I've never been to the Bluebird. But
the Station Inn is where I was. Sorry, it wasn't the Bluebird. Yeah.
Oh my goodness! And
on the Monday night.
On the Monday night.
Yeah, that's
so
it.
we played before them.
Oh, brilliant!
And then they were on stage.
Yeah.
I think we might have played maybe at halftime. This was with Paul Brock and Manus McGuire. So a good few years ago.
Yeah.
And this guy came in and sat beside us, and he was dressed like a cowboy with the big hat and the whole lot. And he bought some peanuts, and he sat down beside me, and he turned a howdy. And I was like, and so the Irish part to me was like, who's this fella dressed like a cowboy, right? And then maybe it was Vince Gill or whatever was on the mic that night, and he goes, "Is Ranger Doug in the house?" And this guy was Ranger Doug, and he got up, and he's this famous yodeler.
Oh wow!
So he's singing the little yodel, and I was like, oh my God! It was just sitting there a minute ago. It's like multiple Grammys, and
that's amazing.
As easy going as you can get. So what a great town.
Oh, amazing place, as I say. Yeah. And I remember Jeff bringing me to some amazing fiddle music shops. I'm sure I was in heaven then when I was there. Yeah.
Well, tell me about your fiddle.
My fiddle is 1870. It's a German fiddle, and I was in Dublin a few years ago, in the 80s, I'm sure it was, shopping or whatever, and I met a friend of mine, and she said, "Will you play Cayley tonight?" And I said, "Oh, I've no fiddle with me." So I went out to Kieran Crehan, and I know him very well. I said, "Kieran, would you give me a fiddle for the night?" I said, "I need a fiddle, I'm going to play Cayley or whatever." So he gave me this gorgeous fiddle. He probably knew what he was doing, because I just had to buy it, and I just loved it. Yeah. So I'm still playing that fiddle.
I'll just loan you this priceless fiddle, knowing that you're going to buy it.
And it was a lovely fiddle. And I have Aggie's fiddle as well, so I play that at home as well. Yeah.
Okay, wow.
Now I have more than 2 fiddles. In fairness, I think no more than yourself. Loads of instruments. Yeah.
Dust collectors.
Yeah, I actually. Yeah. I purchased one there last year as well, another fiddle. But I have a weakness for fiddles. It's like somebody having, a weakness for banjos or whatever. Yeah.
Well, banjo collection is a thing.
Is it? Yeah.
For people that don't play the banjo at all.
Okay.
That collect vast numbers of banjos.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
And Epiphones at the moment.
Okay.
are really, really sought after. So I have one Epiphone which I got when I was 11.
Okay. All right. Okay.
But yeah, I'm still looking for the perfect banjo.
Okay.
Maybe it's out there. I don't know.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah. Máirín, it's been a delight to chat with you.
Well, I'm delighted. Thanks a million.
You talk very fast. I'll have to put captions for the Americans.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
Not at all. I'm only joking.
Did I? Oh, God.
No,
Okay.
it's brilliant. It's been wonderful.
Thanks a million.
Talk, and thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks ever so much, Enda. Thank you.